Hello my friends, this is The Art of Prepping. We're just going to talk about raised beds today, a little bit of garden talk, pros and cons of raised beds. The pros are going to be, and this is just my opinion, I'm not a master gardener. If there are master gardeners on this channel that are watching, feel free to chime in all the details and things that I missed. But from what I've seen in my short life, the pros for raised beds would be better drainage, less erosion. This is, of course, if you have a means to drain your beds. You don't want to just have a box put together and then wait for it to drain. So you have to have a system for it to drain. But when you do have a system for drainage, it does really well. Better control over soil quality. Most of the time when you build a raised bed, you select the actual soil you want. And so you're not at the mercy of whatever's just in the ground. And so you can pick high quality topsoil and you can enrich that and have a little more control over it. And the next thing would be it's easier to harvest, like this various vegetables, especially that if they're deeper in the ground, or they grow in the ground, or their root systems, or their root type of plants. And so, yeah, things like potatoes and such would be a good example of things that would be a little easier to access and to harvest. The next pro would be to give a little bit more pest control options, because when you're building the raised bed, you could either go with a solid barrier underneath, or you could put maybe chicken wire or whatever type of wire system underneath to keep like moles and shrews and other things from coming up underneath trying to eat your roots and our vegetables. Now the cons would be it's further from the ground level, obviously. And a lot of times it's anywhere from 4 to 8 inches above the ground where the top of that box would be, and or your raised beds. Now, why would that be a problem? Because it's further from the ground, therefore when it gets cooler, maybe the first frost or two, it's going to be a lot more impacted than if it was actually in the ground at ground level. So you'll have a little bit less temperature control there from Mother Nature, less insulation. So the next thing would be basically to the ground in the raised bed has a potential to dry out a little faster. That just depends on what you have in the ground. If you have like a lot of wood chips or any kind of things that can hold water, it may not be such a problem at all. But in terms of just regular, dirt, topsoil, it could dry out faster. The next thing would be it may limit the space for the root systems to sprawl out, especially if you have a solid divider or some type of protection system against critters underneath of the box, or even a wire system that could impede the roots and could get kind of enmeshed or tangled in there, or just restricted so it can't grow as much as it could. And the last thing I have is that, going back to the drainage part of it, flooding and pooling if not properly drained. So yeah, this is just common sense, but I'd say probably on each end of the box, or maybe even one in the middle, have little holes, depending on what your box is made up of, and have little drainage holes, and have various types of wire mesh just to keep the soil in. And that's just one way to help it keep it drained. So those are just some ideas about raised beds, pros and cons. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.